हेलो एंड वेलकम टू माय थर्ड वीडियो। हिंदी में देखने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक को क्लिक कीजिए। आई एम निधि सेखो, co-author of books Panoramic Indian Painting from classes 9th to 12th. In the first two videos, we did elements and principles of art, and today we'll take up 6 limbs of Indian painting. Before we proceed with this lesson, I will strongly recommend that you please watch first two videos because this video, that is 6 limbs, is a combination of both the elements and principles of art. The only difference is these 6 limbs are based on Indian aesthetics and the whole concept of Indian beauty and harmony. Let's begin. Shadang consists of two words, Shat, which means 6, and Ang, which means part. They are also called 6 limbs and 6 canons in English. These Shadang evolved in 1st century BC, laying down the main elements and principles of art. So isn't it surprising that our art, that is Indian art, was so evolved so long ago? There are 3 main occurrences. First is Chitra Sutra of Vishnu Dharmottar Puran. It is also the oldest known treatise on painting in the world. Second occurrence came in Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. People who are interested in classical dance would know that. And in early 20th century, that is the modern times, Abhinandan Tagore, a painter from Bengal school, which is also in your syllabus, has analyzed these Shadanga, and he has written a detailed essay giving different examples from life. The famous sage Vatsyayan, who wrote Kam Sutra, has listed these Shadang or 6 limbs of Indian painting in a shloka. In simple words, these 6 limbs are Roop Bhed, which means secrets of form, Pramanani, which means proportion, Bhav, that is expression of emotion, Lavanya Yojanam, that is gracefulness in composition, Sadrishyam, that is similitude or resemblance, Varnika Bhang, that is color application or differentiation of colors. Most of them we have covered in Principles of Art, but now we'll try and learn them according to Indian aesthetics. First is Roop Bhed. Roop means the outer form or appearance of the subject. Bhed, on the other hand, means difference. There is a deeper meaning to it because the observation of form is visual as well as mental. The artist needs to study and practice Roop Bhed, that is differentiation of forms, so that he is able to depict things as they appear and as they truly are. The artist has to know the difference between a living and a non-living object, natural and a man-made object, and this knowledge comes with power of insight, experience and interest, also called ruchi. Now this is all Indian aesthetics. This might sound a little confusing to you, but I'll tell you with an example in the next slide. Now this ruchi, also called a beam of light, helps the artist in achieving the inner and outer knowledge of form. And when he masters this ruchi, he is able to understand Roop Bhed. Abhinandan Tagore has given example to understand Roop Bhed. He says that let's suppose 3 artists paint a woman. One paints a dancing woman, second one paints a woman combing her hair, and the third artist paints a mother feeding her baby. Now whoever sees them will immediately see that this is a painting of a woman. But now how will the viewer know that the dancing woman is a girl of a noble family practicing dance or a professional dancer who is charging money to entertain? Whether the combing woman is a newlywed bride or a maid servant preparing herself for going to the job? How will the viewer know that the feeding lady is a mother and not just a caretaker? Now all these questions are related to Roop Bhed. The artist has to observe the subject carefully so that he is able to understand the expressions of the noble lady, the woman combing her hair who's a bride, and then the lady who's a mother feeding her baby, so that there is no confusion for the viewer and he should not get any wrong idea. Let us take quick examples from your syllabus. The first painting, Chaugan Players. The princesses look clearly different from their maids. Their dresses, their crowns are more elaborate. Even the use of space is such that they look dominating. Same goes for Maruragini from Mewar, the next painting. The royal couple looks different from the common people that are their attendants. Even the study of dog, study of camel is rendered very carefully. So this all is Roop Bhed. Second is Praman. Praman means correct knowledge of the proportion of different forms. It teaches us the exact measure and distance of the subjects from each other. It also provides insight into the structural anatomy of objects. So all these things highlighted are the keywords. It is similar to what we did in proportion and Principles of Art. So there has to be a harmonious division in the measurement of form drawn in its relation to other figures and to the painting as a whole. Like I told you in Principles of Art, the whole division of face, all the features have to be in correct measurement, and the division with respect to each other also has to be correct. So everything has to be in proportion. Now this power of this power of proportion, this sense of proportion is found in all living beings. Even if you look at a deer which is in a jungle, when he hears a rustling sound created by leaves, he is quickly alerted and he knows whether it is some predator or a lion coming to eat him, or it is a harmless creature like a bird who's just flown away from a tree. Let's take a simple example of a landscape. The space in a landscape is divided into foreground, middle ground and background. Everything is done in harmony so that a composition looks good. Let's take an example from your syllabus. Nandi, Yashoda and Kingsmen going to Vrindavan. The foreground has all kinds of human figures, animals and the things that they are carrying from one place to another. Middle ground has sand, plain earth, and the background, the farthest part of the painting, has trees, water and a lot of other things. All these things have been done with the correct distribution of area for sky, trees and water body, fusion of colors for the line of horizon, correct atmospheric effects so that a sense of depth is created, and all this has been done in correct proportion. Like I said, 6 limbs are made on the basis of Indian aesthetics. The sense of Praman or proportion not only gives us the understanding of space, but also decides as to how much importance has to be given to the main figure, so that more details are added and size can also be increased or decreased. Here in this case on the right there is an image from Ajanta. Here Buddha looks much larger than his own family, that is his wife and son. Here the artist has taken the liberty to make the image larger. Why is it so? Because he is Buddha, he is the enlightened being, he is above the mundane people who are running after materialistic things. So this is a unique sense of proportion or Praman used by Indian artists. The third limb out of the 6 limbs is Bhav. Bhav means an emotion, a feeling, a mood, an intention or an idea. It is the expression of a character which tells the meaning of the painting and the concept or story behind the painting. Bhav can be expressed in 2 ways, outer and inner. Outer bhav can be seen with our eyes, but the inner expression only our heart can feel. Like we can see the beauty of flowers, shyness in the lowering of eyelids, poverty in old and torn clothes, but to understand the inner meaning, we need to have proper insight and experience. Same goes with the artist. There are many factors which bring bhav in a painting. It can be expressed through eyes, facial expressions, gesture of hands and limbs, nature, animals, birds, plants and human figures. In painting, emotions and moods are painted by manipulating colors with their tones, light and shade and different intensities. Bhav has always been considered the speciality of Indian art. For instance, you can see Ragmala paintings of miniature schools, Ajanta paintings, Bengal school paintings, all have beautiful depiction of bhav, that is emotion in them. For instance, if there is a Ragmala painting where the lady is shown to be waiting for her lover, the artist has shown her anticipation with lovebirds on the trees, blooming flowers in the lake, or clouds coming in from the sky to convey the idea of romance. Same goes for Ajanta. Look at the painting on the right. Padampani Bodhisattva here is looking content, peaceful and serene. The contentment that he attained through his meditation can be seen in his eyes and overall posture. The painting down below, Journey's End by Abanindranath Tagore, shows the sadness, the gloominess, the dying animal, and the whole idea has been conveyed successfully by the use of colors, the posture of the camel. So everything is successfully conveyed. Now coming to the fourth one called Lavanya Yojanam. Lavanya means beauty and Yojana means scheme. So in short, it is scheme of beauty. Lavanya Yojana as a principle takes care of the right amount of beauty and grace to be added to a painting. Otherwise, the painting will look dull and uninteresting. Abanindranath Tagore has very beautifully said that Praman is like a master who is setting the boy right by force. And Lavanya Yojana, on the other hand, is a mother who is affectionately trying to mold the child according to her desires. So for an artist, Praman is the strict discipline that he has to follow, and Lavanya Yojana is the detail and fineness that he has to add to make the painting beautiful. Bhav is the expression of inner beauty and Lavanya is the perfection of outer beauty. The way Ruchi gives beauty to the form, in the same way Lavanya adds luster or shine to the bhav. So all the above Shadang that we have done, that is Roop, Bhed, Praman, Bhav, they will be without any glitter if there is no luster of Lavanya in it. So the motive is to bring the sense of beauty in a dignified and organized manner so that it is not overdone and looks good. To understand Lavanya Yojana, we can take this example of miniature painting called Jahangir holding the picture of Madonna. Here you can see calligraphy, use of golden colors, flowers and foliage, and multiple borders done around the portrait. But still it looks organized because the artist has limited the use of colors, otherwise it would have looked very chaotic. So the essence is harmony. In other miniature paintings also, like Radha and Krishna paintings, each leaf of a tree has been outlined in detail. The jewelry, the ornaments, the dresses, everything has been given a lot of detailing. So the artist knew how much Lavanya has to be added, and it is done in an organized manner to make it look beautiful. Sadrishyam is the fifth limb. Sadrishyam means similitude or resemblance. A painting must give right expression and right resemblance. In art, we get proper similitude only when we make our lines and colors respond to what our mind sees or experiences. Mere outward resemblance of form, colors, etc., as seen in photographs, is not enough to be called an artistic expression. So here our keywords are right expression and right resemblance. Now imagine the image of Buddha. When we imagine Buddha, we always imagine half-closed eyes, elongated ears, slight smile on lips, snail shell curls on the hair, and probably halo behind the head. Otherwise, we do not find it convincing. And this kind of depiction is the most challenging task for creating a painting to get the right similitude. So, to achieve similitude, we need to know the correct forms, correct features, and also the correct virtues of the person. Indian artists in Sadrishyam have always used the reference of Indian literature. If the writer has said that the shape of the eyes of a girl are like a fish or lotus petal, the artist will make it a point to make the shape of eyes like that. If the writer has said that the hair are as black as snake or dark clouds, the artist makes sure that the darkness of hair is as much as the dark snake. If the feet of goddesses are compared with lotus flower, the artist makes sure that the feet are delicate as the lotus flower. For centuries, Buddha's form has been made according to the similes and comparisons from nature. For example, his body is lion-shaped. The white urna that emits light between eyebrows and the fleshy protuberance on the crown of the head, all these things have given the form to Buddha. Look at the examples on the right. Shoulders are like elephant head. This we saw in Padampani Bodhisattva. Then hands like flower bud. So all these similes have always been applied to Indian painting. Now the last limb or the sixth limb is Varnika Bhang. The term translated means the use of colors in an artistic manner. There is an appropriate color scheme for every idea or mood to be depicted in a painting. Different colors represent different emotions, and all these things, they are the psychological effects of colors that we have always been conditioned to since our childhood. Happiness colors are different, colors of sorrow are different. Artist's mind plays an important role in the color mixing. It determines the exact degree of blueness or blackness which is required to create a night sky. Similarly, as the use of colors is important, the mastery in the use of brush to get the correct line is also very important. Like we did in Elements and Principles of Art, the use of colors, use of lines, all these things apply in Varnika Bhang. Now this has been placed as the last limb of Indian painting so that after the completion of drawing, colors may be applied to create the desired effect. You can pick any artwork or any painting from your syllabus as an example for Varnika Bhang. Just pick a painting, see the color scheme, see the lines, and you can make out how the artist has used Varnika Bhang to make it convincing, to give the right psychological effect. To conclude, these 6 canons of art, these 6 limbs, these Shadang, do not limit artistic freedom, they rather support it. You have to understand the secret of form, which is Roop Bhed. You have to know the correct proportion, which is Pramanani. You need to give the correct expression of emotion, which is bhav. You have to bring gracefulness in your composition, which is Lavanya Yojana. And everything has to resemble what you have made, which is Sadrishyam. All this thing has to have correct colors so that whatever composition you are making is convincing and it looks good to the person who is seeing it. So mastering all this is important for you, and your journey as an individual artist begins after you have studied all these. That's it for now. I'll leave you with the questions. First slide is long answer questions and short notes. Second slide is multiple choice questions. Do ask any doubts or comments that you need to give in the comment section. The links to buy the books are given in description box, and please leave your comment, because I'm an interactive kind of teacher and here it's only me saying things. So if you will also communicate, I'll feel nice as a teacher. Thank you very much and goodbye.